like your favorite neighborhood bartender. Okay, it's the best I could do. What can I say? In today's video, I'm going to talk about mocktails. That's right. I'm recording this in the beginning of January when a lot of us are thinking about New Year's resolutions, new you, some changes in your life. January is normally a really good month. We're all so motivated. We flipped over that calendar. We want to make some changes. Regardless if this is a permanent change or not, there are a lot of reasons why giving up alcohol for at least the month of January is one of those social challenges. It's called Dry January. Have you heard of it? There's a couple really good reasons to give up alcohol, probably more than a couple, but there's even more reasons to add tea to your life. Again, we're talking about making a change. How many cups of tea do you drink a day? Can you add one more? Can you add a few? There's a lot of good reasons to add tea to your lifestyle. Loose leaf tea specifically. Loose leaf tea has 15 times the antioxidants of tea bag tea. It's true. I've done an awful lot of talks on this particular topic. I want you to see how easy it is to make yourself a mocktail, especially using our loose leaf tea. So it's kind of like double. You're giving up alcohol, you're still getting all the great flavor that you enjoy, and you're adding antioxidants to your life. Hey there, Miss Bernita. Oh, I see lots of people watching live. Thank you, friends. I know you're watching live. I can tell a lot of people watching on the mobile shopping app, a couple of people on social media. Our replays are available on our website. You can watch live and you can watch on the website. There's a page called Live Video Shopping. So that's where these videos are. We've got our calendar of what I'm going to be talking about next, which reminds me, next Sunday, we're going to bring back the Chinese New Year collection. It was really successful for us last year, so I'm going to bring it back because I don't want you guys to have to wait until the next year of the dragon to have those tea. So I'm going to bring this back next year. But anyway, today we're going to talk about the mocktail. Yes, those of you watching live, I don't know who you are until you make a comment, but do me a favor. Those of you watching live, are you people who like to cook? Are you a mixologist? Do you like to get into the kitchen and experiment with things? Are you someone who just wants to follow a recipe and you don't really want to experiment? I think that's two different ways. There are days where I absolutely love it. I love trying new things. I love experimenting. I love creating recipes. I definitely love creating drinks. It's what I do for a living here at Sub Rosa Tea. But there are also days where I just want to, I want to know what works. I want someone to just tell me. I'm too exhausted to think about it. And I just want to have a recipe. I want to know exactly what to do, the steps to take. Which are you? What do you prefer? Experimentation, especially this time of year, is important if you're considering Dry January, because I have a feeling that those of you who are giving up alcohol for certain reasons, you have your favorites. You have your drink of choice. It's available easily, or it's available everywhere, or maybe it is the flavor profile that you like. So I'm kind of curious to know if I'm going to do live video, who my audience is. Oh yes, those of you watching on the replay, I want to make sure that you've got the right up in the queue, that if you are new to Sub Rosa Tea, when you download our mobile shopping app, go to the App Store, whichever you prefer, Apple or Android, go to your favorite app store, search for Sub Rosa Tea, which is 3 words, 2 spaces. You get 15% off your first order when you're using our mobile shopping app for the first time. So when you're watching the replay right now, I put the code in the queue so you can actually see it on the screen. So if you are new to the mobile shopping app, you are welcome to use that. Also, I wanted to make sure that I told you that last weekend we talked about our Dry January collection. This particular video, I'm going to talk about 6 tea that we sell all year. So those are in a bundle called the Mocktail Tea Bundle. The collections and bundles that we sell all year are available on our website and on our mobile shopping app. We have a page called Bundles and Gift Sets. So the bundles on those pages are things we sell all year. That's what I'm talking about in today's video. Last week, I introduced 6 new tea in a collection called Dry January. Those are tea, very limited edition. We do not have them all year. They are seasonal and themed specifically for Dry January. And 2 weeks ago, if you were busy partying during the holidays, you might have missed the video for our New Year celebration collection. It has nothing to do with New Year's Eve necessarily, but they are delicious teas. So our New Year celebration collection is available, and those of you who are brand new here, I want to say welcome. My name is Joy. I'm the owner of Sub Rosa Tea. We're a small company based in Northern Ohio, and we'll ship anywhere in the United States. A lot of you are new. You have come to us because you received our Christmas tea for the holidays. Those tea should be available through the end of January, but they won't be available forever. So do make sure you restock your pantries on the ones that you loved. I'm hoping everyone who bought our advent calendar has gotten through all of those, because again, lots of seasonal and holiday teas were in the advent calendars too. Okay, so one person has commented so far. I'm not creative with food without using a recipe. That makes perfect sense to me. I totally respect that. I get it, especially new things. Things that I'm familiar with, I can experiment with. For instance, one of my sweet friends was recalling a story to me, and she was telling me that she had a French onion burger. And I was like, wait, what? I never thought of that before. I need to have that now. But I knew how to make a burger. I knew how to make a burger that I liked. And I knew how to make French onion, other things like French onion soup. I knew how to do that in a way that I liked it. I just didn't know how to make a French onion burger for myself. So marrying the two together was fun for me. Yes, it was experimentation. I didn't have a recipe, but I was really up for the challenge. And once I mastered it, I'm going to like fully disclose, I made it, I mastered it. And then 2 weeks later, I had to make it again. And 2 weeks later, I had to make it again. It was fabulous. So I'm so glad that I got to hear that story, even though I didn't have it with her. I didn't have it in the restaurant with her. And I have no idea if what I created for myself had anything like what she had. It was just a great launching point. So I'm telling you this story because I feel like cocktails and mocktails are really similar. If I knew what you were interested in, what you were craving, what you had given up, and you were looking to replicate in the tea world, I might be able to help you with this. First, let's make some tea. Wait till you see how easy this is, friends. This is our craft cold brew mason jar lid. It really is so simple looking, but I'm going to show you how easy it is. So this lid in particular, actually, let me put some tea in here. I'm going to make myself a margarita. I love margaritas. It has a lot to do with proximity, I suppose. I have had some really delicious ones. I love lime, first of all. This is cold water. So I'm going to pour cold water into my mason jar. This particular jar only holds 24 ounces. It's not a lot. But I'm going to fill it up. I'm not filling it up all the way just for your sake. It has nothing to do with anything else. But the amount of tea that I put in was a ½ ounce. That is kind of like twice as much as I really needed for this, but I am going to make it pretty strong. I'm making it at night. I am doing it on the video. I want to drink it when the video's over, so I'm using a tap water. It's delicious where I live, and so my brew isn't going to be cold. If I had more time, I would put the whole brew into the refrigerator, and I would just let it go overnight. As you can see, it's already, it's already spot on. It's beautiful and colored here. But all you're going to do is put the lid on. So this is a wide mouth lid for wide mouth jars. So mason jars probably come in an awful lot of sizes, right? Really small to 5 gallons. They come really in so many different sizes, but it has to do with the mouth of the jar. There are jars, as you know, that are available in different sizes, like by tomato sauce or pickles or sauerkraut, things that come in jars. They might not be the exact size for this, but mason jars specifically, the brand, you're going to be able to find a wide mouth jar really readily in any shop. You probably already have one. So all the lid does is the tea will come through the lid. I'm going to show you in a minute, but I wanted you to see if the camera will pick it up, is that it's a really fine mesh infuser. So really, really fine mesh. So the tea leaves, the loose leaf tea goes into the cold water. It's literally 2 steps. Tea leaves in, cold water in. Anyone can do it. We're going to screw the lid on and we're going to let it set. So by the time the video is done, I will be able to drink this tea no problem. So I'm going to make myself a martini because I love lime. Okay, so this one's nice and easy. Hey there, Jennifer. Oh, I don't care if you're late. I love that you came live. Thanks for that. Miss Bernita says, I use recipes sometimes, and sometimes I'm creative. I love that you have a choice. Anybody have a favorite drink of choice? You guys wine drinkers? Only tea? Or is my whole audience all tea all the time today? You know, that reminds me. Someone just said it to me. And I know I'm correct. I didn't even have to look it up, but she said, I'm not much of a teetotaler. And that term, friends, by the way, teetotaler just means that you don't drink alcohol. The term teetotaler has nothing to do with loose leaf tea that we all love. But she said it, and it does fit for dry January. So nonetheless, okay, so like I said, this particular collection is our mocktail tea bundle, available on the gift sets and bundle webpage and on our mobile shopping app. First off, let's talk about Tennessee whiskey. I think a lot of people know what whiskey tastes like. This is one of our most popular selling black teas. And I think it is so popular because it is so different, even if you don't like tea. If you have friends who don't like tea, give them a cup of this. I'm telling you, they might really love it. It doesn't taste like tea, not like any other tea I've ever had. This is black tea. But it also has lapsang susang in it, which is a Chinese herb that makes it taste a little bit smoky. Whiskey is known to be aged in barrels that have been smoked. So the flavor of the oak barrel and the smokiness will get into the whiskey. This tea also has apples, it has caramel notes to it, vanilla notes. Those are all flavor profiles that are really, really popular with whiskey. This is a great black tea. It is both sweet and smoky. It's just not like anything else. It is a delicious ice cold. If you like your tea smoky and really powerful tasting, go ahead, steep it hot. If you want to back off that, steep it in cold water. Using our craft brew mason jar lid is exactly the way to go for a nice, smooth cup of Tennessee whiskey. Black tea, friends, does have approximately 60 milligrams of caffeine per 8-ounce cup. If you're looking for something nice and fruity, I would recommend our apricot brandy. Apricot brandy. No brandy, no alcohol, friends. This is just tea, like all of the flavors I'm going to talk about here today. Apricot brandy, though, has a very specific taste to it. We've used not too many other flavors. When I have a customer looking for a gift and they want just plain tea, but they're willing to try something just a little bit more, I do point them out to this one because it's not so overpowering. It is very nice and smooth and tea tasting without being anything else. So I think that appeals to an awful lot of my customers. Apricot brandy is available individually and also in the mocktail tea bundle. Next up, we have our fuzzy navel, another tea that is so successful for us, one of our most popular teas. This is the white tea. So this particular collection, the Mocktail Tea Bundle, has 2 black teas, 2 white teas, and 2 that are caffeine free. So if you like the bundle, that's kind of fun. White teas are very low in caffeine. A few minutes ago, I said black teas have around 60 milligrams of caffeine per 8-ounce cup. That is a lot less than Coca-Cola. So if you are someone who is on the dry January challenge specifically to give up soda pop, you might be looking to give up all of the other ingredients in soda pop, but not the flavor, not the caffeine. tea is also a good replacement for that. And I've met you. I know exactly who you are. I know some of you need to get off the energy drinks. They can be very toxic to your system. Ooh, they're filled with a lot of things that you just don't need. But again, tea is a great replacement because it's full of antioxidants that you can't get anywhere else. Specifically, and it tastes good, right? It tastes good. So again, we are talking about cold steeping our loose leaf tea, but you can steep it warm too. All of the teas, of course, can be warm as well. If you're not familiar with a fuzzy navel, the tea has a peach and orange and tangerine, but it's light. White teas are meant to be lighter in taste and flavor profile. You want the white tea taste to come forward, which is nice and light. Do make sure you use a lighter temperature, steaming water, never boiling, and possibly even a shorter steep time than you would some of your other teas that you're drinking. But again, this is perfect as an iced tea. We had a request to bring back a favorite tea called strawberry wine. That's right, folks, it's back again. A couple of years ago, we had introduced in a collection a Tennessee whiskey tea and also a strawberry wine. But the strawberry wine we decided to discontinue for various reasons. This has been tweaked a little bit from the original, but it is back. A lot of the same flavor notes as the original. This is, again, a white tea, so it's very low in caffeine, high in antioxidants, great flavor profile. We've also used elderberries. So strawberries are really sweet on the berry scale. Elderberries can be quite tart, as you can imagine. The dichotomy with some lemongrass in there really makes it taste reminiscent of wine. Strawberry wine is one of those wines that isn't necessarily always sweet, but it's normally always really inexpensive. There is something to be said about cheap wine. This tea, friends, really elevates it. I know you're going to fall in love with it. So again, the recipe has been updated a little bit, but it is again absolutely perfect tea to cold steep. White teas are great. I also want you to think about when you're making yourself a mocktail based on whatever it is that you used to be drinking that you're trying to drink less of or give up for at least January. Think about your additives. Think about your mixers. Are you going to be adding in juice or carbonation like club soda or ginger ale? Are you going to add something like maybe lemonade, maybe steamed lemonade? Think about elevating it. What can you do to the next level? Some things like the strawberry wine. Think about a weird garnish. You might think about typical lime to garnish your margarita, but think about lime to garnish your strawberry wine. Is that normal? No. Would you like it? Possibly. Think about things that are the opposite. I think about strawberry wine. Would you garnish it with basil? You might not, but I would. Absolutely. And I'm not talking dry basil, I'm talking fresh basil. Think about how when you garnish a drink like this, the first thing that hits you is the smell. So even though you might not eat the garnish, like the basil leaf on your strawberry wine, you're going to smell it. And it works with the dichotomy of the drink. So definitely have some fun with it. Next up is our fruity sangria. This is a fan favorite. I love that we have this all year. A fruity sangria. This is caffeine free. This is a cranberry and cherry tisane. There's no tea in it, but still lots of antioxidants. Fabulous hot or cold, absolutely. If you're not familiar with sangria, the term or the drink, it's normally one of those things that you would do with a cheap bottle of alcohol, normally wine, and leftover fruit from like your farmer's market. So sometimes you just have leftover citrus if you live in that climate or it's that season for you. Sometimes you have leftover berries and things like that. And sometimes it all comes together just fabulously. But it normally has a lot of depth of flavor because the fruit is soaking in with the drink. So I think you're going to find the same similar notes with your fruity margarita here. Next up, friends, Midnight Margaritas was a tea that we had in a previous collection, and I can see we're still selling it. No one's stopping. No one is interested to stop buying the Midnight Margaritas. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be here nonstop. It's going to be here to stay. And this is the tea that I have steeped up for myself. So a margarita is very typically lime. Not always, I acknowledge that, but here at Sub Rosa Tea, it is. And it also has a fair amount of hibiscus in it. The tea blend does. So the tea has got your lime and your hibiscus, and the hibiscus is what makes it red. I am using a clear glass in order to show you that all of the tea leaves stayed in the jar with the water. And all I'm getting is the iced tea beverage in my glass. Of course, I'm going to garnish it with a lime here for today's video. But I will tell you, the nice thing about the jar is you can put anything in it. I was just talking about how they typically make sangria, and you can do that with the jar method too. Now that you've got this lid, the Craft Mason jar lid, yes, you put your tea leaves in with the cold water, but you can do fruit in here too. Think about making some spa water, especially in the summer, like with strawberries and cucumbers and with your water. Or if you do like mint with your lemonade, you're going to use this lid for absolutely everything. You might even need two. The other thing I like the lid for is ice cubes. I was thinking y'all don't need me to show you how to make a fancy ice cube. I'm sure you figured it out. But a lot of my friends, I have to say, more and more people in my life have an automatic ice cube maker. They honestly might not know all of the fun silicone molds that are on the market. These are hand wash and dishwasher safe. All of the ones that I own can also be good for baking. I use them for everything. So this one I'm showing you, yes, I bought it to make myself donuts and bagels, but what's fun is you can also put berries like the cranberries in here. You can fill it with tea then. You can fill it with other garnishes. You can freeze it. It can be floating on with your margarita or your sangria. They come in so many different sizes, so easy to use, but they have really large ones now. So if you want something like an old fashioned and you're mimicking that and you want a really large square or round ice cube, you can totally do that. You can steep up your tea and freeze the steeped tea so your beverage isn't as watered down. But I really think once you own them, you'll use them for everything. The large ones, of course, I'm going to make large ice cubes with, but I also make big batches of soup. And I'll put some in the ice cubes. And so as the winter goes on, I can just pull out one or two and just have a cup of soup with my salad, like at lunchtime. Soup takes a couple hours to make. I'm going to make a big batch, but I don't necessarily want to eat, a big batch at one time. I do it with my red sauce. I'll make all of the red sauce in August when the garden is in bloom, but then I'll pull out the cubes and add spices to one, garlic to one, cream or cheese to another to make different red sauces, oregano for pizza sauce. You get my gist. So there's so many different sizes. The other thing I would recommend you use, if you have it, is the silicone molds to make ice cubes with your elderberry syrup. Now is not the time to give that up. I know a lot of you bought the elderberry syrup in the fall, and most of you have probably already consumed what you made in the fall. Now's a good time to buy some more elderberry syrup from us. You're going to make it for yourself. And if whether or not you're adding it to syrup or honey, you can definitely steep it all up and put the concentrate into silicone molds. So every day you're taking out a little ice cube and putting it into your drink to give your immunity the boost, because again, it's January. I think no matter where you live in my audience, we need an immunity boost this time of year. So don't forget about that. And the elderberry syrup kit that we sell, it would be good in all 6 of these teas. I should have put it in the queue. It really would. It'd be delicious with all of them. So friends, I want to say thank you for watching. I don't see any questions here in my live audience, but thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. And no matter what you do with the rest of your day, I hope you have yourself a sip of tea, and take care of you. Bye-bye, friends.